personally. But nonetheless, he had one advantage, which was that in lifetime after lifetime, actually he continually sought to awaken himself. This is the advantage of himself. And so he kept his mind pure and undefiled, without any negative affinities that could pull him away from his spiritual cultivation. That's why, even though he was able to follow Sakyamuni Buddha in the spiritual practice in the time, but as for forming great aspiration and vow, because of that one time, he remained stubborn and still clung to the small vehicle. This is I said before. So even though for 40 years he'd been listening to the Buddha teaching, but yet this is the past, and he showed that he's in a small vehicle. But finally, after he listened to the right Dharma at the Lotus Dharma Assembly, and when the Buddha gave him a prediction that in the future he will be, if he keep cultivation, lifetime after lifetime in the future, he one day will get a chance to attend the Buddhahood. So, and finally, he opened up his mind and formed aspirations and make vow. So this is what Master say. Actually, Sariputra, he was secretly engaged in spiritual practice by himself, but he purposely to manifested the appearance of hero, and he has such he want to show to everyone that he has such affections in the past, and now after listening to the Dharma, to the Buddha's teaching, and he willing to accept the teaching, and now he start to repent the past, the wrongdoing, and now he want to repent himself, and now he want to remake a new vow again. So he say he must want to eliminate all the ignorance or the afflictions and or all the ungood thought in his mind. So he want to eliminate all them and to keep the new life and in the spiritual practice. So Sariputra had the karmic affinity to follow Sakyamuni Buddha and to engage in the many lifetime. But as for ordinary people like us, and who knows how long we have been separate from the Sakyamuni, or if you want to say about is how long we have been separated from we and Master during when we do the voluntary job. So is it in the past, did we have created the karmic condition to form a good affinity with our Master as well? But I think if so, we must keep remember that our connection must constantly keep listening to what Masters want us to do, and we follow the Master's footsteps and just do it. I think this is the best way. And otherwise, if living among the multitude of sentient beings, we still have an unawakened mind that fluctuates earth, and our mind will goes up and down and not stable and not fixed. So we don't want to live like just ordinary people. And actually, very coincidence is this morning, Master gave us a story regarding a small rural city in Korea. There's a small town which is living a couple, blind couples, and even though they can't see anything, just like what Sariputra, he sacrificed his eye, he became blind. But after he came, he faced a lot of adversity by doing good thing, but cannot give any feedback from people, and he started to reduce and to vanish his vow. But this old couple, but even though they're blind, but they are willing to practice and to do good deed and to benefit to others. So this is, I think, what Master wants us to never give up. And even though we can't see anything, but if we take the right action, definitely we will benefit other, and in 无形中, and we will, create a blessing to ourselves. So I think this is a sharing for the answer for me to answer the question one. So now I pass it over to Brother Shihao for the following question. Thank you.
Thanks to Sifu, thanks to Master De Huang, who gave this presentation on the question. Today we're trying to do all the questions. And just when Master De Huang was talking about that story about Shariputra, the one about the eyes, I think it might be difficult to find that actual story today. It's sort of very difficult. You just gouge out that one eye. I think it's very difficult. But amazingly, just yesterday, I heard this story from one of our brothers here who came to the abode for the duty. They came from Taipei, and then they come here they stay here for 4 days, and they came here for logistic duties. And he was sharing with me while he was taking me to the train station, and he was sharing with me what he had learned here. And he had mentioned that one of the things that he learned here was that there were many brothers who had come with their own professional expertise. They are professional in construction, architecture, many things. And while there were some projects on building and constructing, they provided their insight. But because it's very different in our project, in that it has to work with many, many different groups. Usually, we have many volunteers that are bosses, right? They are the board directors. They are the boss of their own company. Usually, whatever they say, they do, and they get it, right? But here, it's very different. It's a combination of many, many different organizations and people working together. So the leader of the team explained to him that in order to work and mesh well with each other, there might be some changes. And one of the brothers who had 40 years of experience in the professional area was really, really upset, really, really angry, and said that if you want my expertise, this is what my professional opinion is, and you shouldn't just take it and throw it away, right? Very similar to the eyes, okay? And so eventually it was, our leader was very kind and said, well, to mesh with others, there might have to be changes. You can still do it your way, but if there are changes in the future, please do remember that, we had to make some changes. So it's not just the eyes, right? It's about how you're attached to what you think is best. And sometimes it's out of very good intention that you are doing this for the group, but it might not be received as such. People might say that I'm going to make some changes, or they might not even cherish it. So would you be the one that just turns away and said, you know what, I am not going to have anything to do with you anymore? I think many people would say that. Many people would say, I will not step into your Jingsi hall ever again. Many people probably have done that already. So that's not just to talk about Shariputra's story. It's actually talking about every one of us, how we are attached to our own attachments. And how long is that? And that's probably a very long time. Like, this question, how long is a kalpa? It's a very long time. We are attached to our own selves for a very long time. And if you want a Google's answer, this is Google's answer, right? I don't know how they got it. They probably have some document somewhere about the Hinduism's explanation of a kalpa. But if you want to go into Master's explanation, okay, and this was actually confirmed on different texts as well, a kalpa should divide into 3 parts, and Master always talks about this. Whenever in the sutra, in the Lotus Sutra, it was talked about different long time kalpas, and so she would talk about 大节, 中节, 小节, the greater, the medium, and the lesser. Okay, so then she would explain what a lesser kalpa is. So the idea is this: for every 100 years, the average human lifespan increases by 1. From an average of 10 years old, that's the average lifespan of human beings. 10 years of age. That means the average only is 10 years. That means it's a a very devastated world. People don't live, average, don't live beyond 10. It's just crazy, and it's probably filled with disasters. And all the way to the average lifespan of 84,000. And you can imagine it's a very long age, right? Right now, if you live beyond 100 years old, you're already considered to be very, very, very healthy or old age, long living. But there could be a time when the lifespan is actually 84,000, okay? So for every 100 years, you go from 10 to 11 to 12 to 13 to 14 and all the way to 84,000. And this is called one increment, okay? And then the reverse goes, you go from 84,000, for every 100 years, you decrease by 1 and all the way down to 10, okay? And this is called one decrement, okay? So 1 increment plus 1 decrement equals 1 lesser kalpa. 20 lesser kalpa form 1 medium kalpa. 4 medium kalpa form 1 greater kalpa. And therefore, if you do it in the math way, so this is how you want the answer. You want to know how long it is? I'm telling you how long this is in terms of the calculation itself. So 1 lesser kalpa is this, the calculation. 1 medium is therefore this. And 1 greater kalpa is therefore 1,343,840,000 years. That's the answer. And I hope that answers your question on how long that is. You could Google it. And this is actually, if you switch the language from English to Chinese, this is actually the calculation that they did, which is sort of a little bit different from what they had on Google, the English version. But regardless, this is the calculation that was done before when Master talked about how long a kalpa is. So does that really mean that it's really this long? It has to take 1 billion years? It's talked about symbolically about how long that is. It talks about in the steps of becoming the Buddha, the steps of attaining the Buddhahood and the Bodhisattvahood in terms of the places in the Bodhisattva placement. And so that's how long it is, or how long it takes to eliminate one of the major afflictions. So it's symbolic to mean it's a very, very long time. Okay, so the next question is, so we're trying to go through all these questions because I think we're very thankful for all of you who have been submitting these questions. And for the entire year, it's already April, and all these questions hadn't been answered. So we really wanted to answer them and to provide some insight, not exactly complete answer, but insights. So this question asks, unenlightened beings having this state of mind always go through the 4 states, okay? Arising, abiding, changing, and ceasing. Does that mean enlightened minds do not? Then how do they contemplate the people matters and object matters? And I think, does that mean that enlightened minds do not do this, do not have the 4 states? I think it's in the scope. What does that mean? For us, the afflicted ordinary beings, our minds are constantly changing, right? Our likes and dislikes. Today I like you, tomorrow I don't like you. Today I like to do this, tomorrow I don't like it. Today I'm so inspired and tomorrow I feel really decadent. So all these things were constantly changing and changing. Our likes, our desires, our actions, even our dedication and our vows are always, always changing. And therefore, it goes through the 4 states, right? It goes to abide, it goes to arising, and it goes to abiding, it goes to changes, and it goes to decay. These are the 4 things keeps on changing. You like it today, it comes out of nowhere. And eventually tomorrow, you don't like it anymore. Or you used to like it when you're a child, now you don't like it when you're grown up. So it goes through the 4 states always. But for enlightened beings, it's not that things don't change. It's that their minds are no longer fluctuating. It's not just fluctuating about today and tomorrow. Time could change, but their thoughts and their minds do not. For example, their vows do not waver. We always know about the Sutra of Infinite Meanings, talking about that we have to uphold our vows for eons and eons of time. It doesn't mean that nothing changes. Why? Certain things still go through the 4 states. For example, the means to carry out the vow, right? Just recently, what we're experiencing is the COVID-19. COVID-19 is very, very different from all the other things that we have gone through before. So even for Master Cheng in Tzu Chi, we have to change our ways to deal with the problem. Same thing. The vows do not change, but time, place, and people, they're all changing. To carry out this vow, the ways and the means to do this, we need to make changes. So they also go through the 4 states. When the affinity is there, we need to make the change to fit the current time, the contemporary ways and means, to fit the people that are going to carry them out. And therefore, that changes. However, the central vow does not change. So I hope that will give you the idea, the aspiration. Next question. When the Buddha was about to pass away, okay, so this was the story that many people had heard about when Venerable Ananda wasn't so sure about what to do. So he went to ask someone else, and what do we do, right? So there were 3 questions that this other Venerable Aniruddha told Ananda to ask. So the question was very good, okay? Why are these questions so important? And why not Aniruddha just ask the question himself? I think it's a very, very valid question. And I thank whoever that asked the question to be so creative. This is what I really want to encourage everybody. Don't just take the story on its face value. There's always more to it. Do we really get it? You know, the stories of the eyes being taken out. Do we really understand what it means? Or do we just understand the story? Same thing. When we heard about this story, this is good. Asking questions about it is good. And then we get to think about why. And why not just Aniruddha himself asking the questions, right? So first of all, why are these questions so important? I think that these are the 3 major pillars that Buddha provided for us, perhaps without our knowing or acknowledgement. You know, what does that mean? The 3 pillars, right? Buddha is our teacher. So when the Buddha is no longer with us, who is going to be our teacher? That's the first question. Next, Buddha has always been our arbiter. What does that mean? When we are conflicting, when we are fighting, when we don't have a difference, when we have a difference of opinion, Buddha was the one that says, okay, you do it this way, you do it that way, and then we all know what to do. Everybody listens. Buddha is no longer with us. Who is going to arbitrage for us and said, you do it this way, or you do it that way? This is probably the biggest part in any Sangha group, in that who has the final say. When this person is our teacher, no one has any problem. When the teacher is away, or when the teacher is no longer with us, then who has the final say? So that's the very second thing that we have to find the answer for. Next, Buddha as the basis of our cultivation. Buddha will tell us what to do, so that we will know how to cultivate. Now, the Buddha is not with us. What do we do with these 3 major things? When the Buddha is with us, we always taken these for granted. Yes, the Buddha will be there to give us teachings. Yes, the Buddha will be there to decide for us the things that we cannot have an agreement on. Yes, the Buddha will provide the basis of our cultivation. But when the Buddha is no longer there, what do we do? And that's why we have the 3 questions, right? So the first thing is, who is going to be our teacher? And that's when the Buddha answered, using the precept, upholding the precept, 以戒为师. That's going to be our teacher, right? So what if there are people that don't agree with the teachings, or the people that don't abide by the rules? What do? You compassionately, you tell them what to do, what should be the right thing. And if they still don't listen, let them go. Because there isn't going to be another person who is able to turn them. So that's the way of arbiter, right? Arbiter says, this is right, this is wrong. It's like the judge. But when the judge is no longer there, who are you going to listen to, right? And the basis of our cultivation, right? So it's 四念处. So these are the 3 things that I think are the pillars. Perhaps we've taken all these for granted. We think that because most of us, we think that it's all there already, right? Someone will give us the teaching. Someone will there to tell us the decisions. Someone will be there to tell us the basis of cultivation. It's all there, just like Master right now. We're all taking this for granted. Then who is going to be on the morning talk when Master is not with us anymore? These are the 3 pillars. And that's why these are the questions that were asked. So let us do this exercise very quickly, right? Think one person close to you. It could be your wife, your husband, or your child, your mother, your father, right? What would happen if the person is no longer there? What kind of pillar would we lose? What kind of support would we lose? How would you make up for it? That's the question that you would start asking. You would begin to think about how important that person is. When the person is not there, who is going to make the food? Who is going to make the salary? Who is going to make the bed? All these things begin to come up. And that's when you are so sad, you are not able to listen and think about these things. That's why someone else had to do the questions. So very quickly, the time is over, so I'm going to go through the final part. Why not Venerable Aniruddha ask the question himself? I think there's many reasons, right? I can only think about there's affinity, there's responsibility, there's also the suitable capacity. Affinity meaning that Ananda has always been the one that carry on this message from the Buddha. So maybe coming from him, it might be more suitable, I'm not sure. Perhaps that's the responsibility of Ananda to find out these things for everyone. And there's also the suitable capacity that the Buddha will only speak to Ananda about particular things because he can remember, because his memory is is superhuman. So all these things are many, many questions. And it reminds me to the right now the chapter that we're looking at, chapter 2, skillful means, or before. And it's also once again about Sariputra, right? What if it wasn't Sariputra that asked the question, that begged the Buddha to start talking about the true Dharma? What if it wasn't, right? And why was he the wrong protagonist? That's affinity. That's the condition, because that was what was needed at the time. So I think that maybe at the time that was most needed was for Ananda to be asking these questions, for Ananda to know that he must ask these questions, that he must be the one to pass on the answers to all of the people. And that was, I think, important. So we're not going to go into the next question because the time is already up. And we thank all of you for posing these questions. And we love to have more of these communication. If you have any other thoughts about the questions that we had already answered, whether by Master De Huang or myself or others, please feel free to write back again. And we will find time to address them, because it's through these questions that we are really beginning to see something more than just the question, or more than just the stories. So I thank to all of you, and I hope that we get another more chances in the future to address these questions. Thank you.
Brother Andrew, you might share now.
Okay. Very good morning to everyone, our beloved master and our Jing Sifu and all the Dharma brothers and sisters all over the world. Very good morning and greetings from Singapore. My name is Andrew Lim, and today I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to share with everyone about two parts. Okay, wait, let me share my screen, the PowerPoint first. Okay, so the title of my sharing today is The Infinite Dharma in Volunteerism, and my personal self-reflections on COVID-19. Okay, now for personal development through volunteerism, it's my personal journey in Tzu Chi ever since I become a Tzu Chi volunteer. And I've realized that it is very, very important for us to cultivate both blessings and wisdoms. So, Jing's aphorism, yes, this is my favorite. Okay, so just like to share, blessings is experiencing joy through actions. So only through actions that we'll be able to gain blessings, and not just by praying alone. And wisdom, whereas wisdom is gaining spiritual freedom through understanding. By understanding the principles and of our actions or thoughts, then only we will gain wisdom. The next one is one must create blessings to experience blessings. Okay, so again here the keywords is we need to take actions. We have to go out and create blessings for others. Then only we'll be able to experience the blessings. And one must eliminate worries to find wisdom. So our minds are full of afflictions and ignorance, and in order for our wisdom to arise, then we need to eliminate all these worries and afflictions. Okay, just some images of my volunteering in Tzu Chi. So yeah, very, very filled with the Dharma joy whenever I'm volunteering, and I'm really glad to have this opportunity to work with so many brothers and sisters and to learn from them. Okay, cultivating blessings. Okay, in my involvement with charity works, okay, we do a lot of home visits. We We do a lot of distributions. And through all these works, I realized that our care recipients will manifest a lot of different various form of sufferings. So by realizing all these sufferings, so it made me to want to cherish my own blessings. And while volunteering in the medical works, like providing the medical aids and medical supplies, and visiting the some of the patients at the hospitals, and even in their home when if they are bedbound and stricken. So it allows me to confront impermanence, because just right in front of me there will be these are the people that are suffering from their illnesses, and most of them will then pass on. Okay, when their conditions as or the causes and conditions is ripe. So by confronting impermanence, it allows me to learn how to let go. When it's time to let go, we need to learn how to let go. And confronting impermanence actually helps, because it keeps on, it is right in front of us and allows us to really reflect on the truth of impermanence. And of course, joining Tzu Chi, we learn the importance of having a plant-based diet. It's not for our own health, good health, but also rather it's for our environment, and for the great love of all sentient beings. And by adopting plant-based diet, it teach me how to value life. Not just human beings' life, but all sentient beings, animals' life, including savings of lives. So before joining Tzu Chi, I'm already a Buddhist, and sometimes we will go and buy some animals like birds or seafood, live animals, and then we will then let them go, as a form of practice of saving lives. Okay. But coming into Tzu Chi, it made me realize that in order to save all these lives, it is even better if we can be a vegetarian, if we can, adopt vegetarian diet, so we do not need to add on to the demand for the animals, for all these live animals. So that is even better. Okay, getting involved in the educational programs in Tzu Chi allow me to sow the seeds of hope, because seeing all these children from the underprivileged, the needies, our care recipients' children's, being able to help them, to give them a chance to have proper education, to allow them to have the social mobility, and to sow the seeds of hope in them. So eventually this family will then be able to break the cycle of poverty, through education. And environmental protection, of course, not just the external environment, and it also taught me that how to do spiritual recycling. That means we need to get rid of all the garbage and all the unnecessary burden and attachments that we have accumulated over the years, not just this lifetime, but also in many, many past lifetimes. So we need to clear off all this, the bad, and then only keep the good, and then keep on recycling them. And the involving in eco protection also helps me to understand the environmental consciousness. Okay, why is it so important for us to protect our environment and to ensure the sustainability? Which is really important, because we're going to come back to this earth, no matter what. In the six realms, we're going to come back, and we want to make sure that this earth remain sustainable. Okay, and getting involved in Dharma propagation sharings, we in Tzu Chi, we always have a lot of sharings. Okay, and so kind of get used to it. But all these sharings helps me to sustain my own understanding and my own learning of the Dharma, and also help me to purify my mind. because only by listening to the Dharma, by upholding it, by keeping it within our heart, and always constantly reminding us, just like what Master is doing, then only we'll be able to sustain the Dharma, okay, within ourselves and also within our world, in this Saha world. And the Dharma, if there's no people that are seeking the Dharma, listening to the Dharma, then the Dharma will not be able to be sustained. Okay, so those are for the cultivating of blessings. So next is about cultivating of wisdom. In Buddhism, we are taught to practice the 6 paramitas. Especially in Tzu Chi, we are learning how to walk the Bodhisattva path. So the Bodhisattvas, the important homework for the Bodhisattva is to have the 6 perfections. Okay, the 6度波罗蜜, the 6 parameters. First is parameters of giving, dana in Sanskrit. Okay, so in Tzu Chi, I learned, Master taught us to give without expecting any returns. And not only that, we have to be grateful to the person that we are giving to the receiver. So giving without expecting any returns, this is something that that requires practice for myself, because initially when we are giving, there'll be some expectation that the person should be thankful, the receiver should be appreciative of what we are giving, that we are helping him. But more often than not, we realize that sometimes we give, we may not receive even any appreciation. So, so this is where we need to learn how to give without expecting any returns. So there will not be any attachments, in our mind, and I learn how to be grateful to the receiver, because I'm given this opportunity to give, to practice giving. Yeah, and so this is truly I need to be grateful for. Next is precepts, sila. So in Tzu Chi, we learn to observe the 10 precepts. So previously, I only know about the 8 precepts and the 8 precepts. So coming to Tzu Chi, then I learn about the 10 precepts. Okay, so these 10 precepts not only purifies our mind, develop our virtues, but it also acts as a protection to protect our self, and also to protect our mind, and allow us to cultivate our wisdom. So that is the precepts, how precepts can help us to cultivate our wisdom. And the next one is really, really a big challenge for myself, is the paramitas on tolerance, khanti. Okay, so tolerance is probably a nicer word. Sometimes you say endurance, forbearance, or even tahan. We need to tahan our anger and the fire within our mind. So tolerance is something that we need to cultivate. So the opposite of tolerance is patience. So by cultivating patience among difficult people and environment. So in Tzu Chi, yes, we have all our brothers and sisters are all very nice people. We are all walking on the same path. But sometimes, because of our own affinities, we did not create good affinities with them in the past. So we will meet difficult people. So or not everybody will like us. Okay, so that is really a good chance for us to practice patience and tolerance. Okay, so and the environment, environment always, the external environment will always affect us. And by tolerating, if we are able to achieve tolerance without even realizing that we are tolerating it, it becomes so natural. There's no form of tolerance in our mind that arises. Then that is really a true cultivation. And that is what Master had taught us. Okay, next is diligence, viriya. So diligence is important because it's easy for us to it's easy for us to be distracted and for us to deviate from the track. Okay, so if you see a train that got off track, you know what kind of damage it will create. And so as well as our own cultivation, we need to be diligent. And by being diligent is actually creating mindfulness in our daily lives and mindfulness in our every thought moments, and also diligently create good affinities with the people around us, especially the people that don't like us or that we don't like. So that is even more crucial. And also diligently living out the Dharma, taking the Dharma into our heart, and we need to practice it. Okay, we need to put it into practice through our bodily actions, through our speech, and our thoughts. And the next one is meditation, jhana. And meditation is not just sitting still, doing nothing, and just watching the mind or watching the breath. In Tzu Chi, I learned that meditation is all the time. Okay, the practice of meditation is really all the time, whether you are sitting, whether you're walking, you're talking, you're sleeping, lying down, okay, or sitting down. So the aim of meditation is to have a clear and still mind. So this is what silent contemplation means, our Jing Si. So by having a clear and still mind, we will not be easily affected by our external circumstances, okay, which is a real test for us now, with this COVID-19 pandemic happening around us. So it's really, really easy for us to be affected by all these external circumstances, and that is where our practice of meditation comes in. And finally, if you're able to do all of the above 5, we will then be able to obtain a certain level of wisdom. Okay, panya. So wisdom is like a bright mirror, a mirror that is so polished and bright and free of ignorance and afflictions. And that is our ultimate aim, to practice the 6 perfections, the 6 paramitas. And in Tzu Chi, we have many, many chances, many opportunities for us to practice this, and truly grateful to Master to guide us along this path and to really teach us how to enhance our wisdom life, because that is the only thing that it truly matters. Okay, in Tzu Chi, we are always been posed this question: in a tug of war, which side will win? Okay, between good and evil. In tug of war, there's always 2 sides. Okay, the right and the left, the good and the evil. So which side will win? And of course, we know that the answer is the side that has the more people, the side with the greater number of people that will create a greater strength. Okay, so it comes to my second part of my sharing now, which is my personal self-reflection on the COVID-19. So before that, I would like to show a video. Okay, a short video. Let me just turn it on. I hope the video has. Is everybody able to watch the video? Okay, this video is a movie titled Contagion. It was shown in 2011. It's about a virus pandemic. So you can see a bat is feeding on a banana. And this bat flies to a pig farm. And the bat's droppings and food drop to the pigs, and the pig will then feed on it, and the virus got transmitted. These piglets were then unfortunately, they were brought to the restaurants to be slaughtered, to be put onto the table for human consumption. the chef will conveniently wipe his hand on his apron. From this movie, okay, it's remarkable that, you know, this movie has a lot of similarities with what we are experiencing right now with COVID-19. You know, so what does it mean? To me, it means that this COVID-19 is something that will eventually happen. Okay, and because we have seen it in SARS, in MERS, in H1N1, so this thing is something that, you know, it's just a matter of time where our world will be experiencing another kind of virus. And unfortunately, I don't think the COVID-19 is going to be the last. There will be maybe new viruses down the road. Okay, so from this movie, there are many lessons to be learned. Okay, so if you haven't watched it, I would just suggest that you can watch it while you are doing your stay at home. Okay, let me continue with my PowerPoint. Sorry, let me just putting. Is everyone able to see my PowerPoint slides?
Yes.
Can I? Okay, great. Okay, some observation on the pandemic. Okay, masters have been calling us to pray ever since this pandemic started, you know, in January, for us to pray with sincere piety, to promote vegetarianism, and to expand our love towards all sentient beings and all the and also our environment. So my self-reflection is that this pandemic, you know, is that causes all these sufferings and afflictions and negative karmas. It's because of our negative karmas, our collective karma that we have caused in the past that are now causing us to be experiencing or suffering from this pandemic. So all these sufferings are caused by our human greed, ignorance, and delusions. So which means we need to attract more people to the right side, you know, to the side that has the right understanding, the right thoughts, that has a great love for all sentient beings. So it is really important for us to go out and share and let more people know that what Tzu Chi is doing and why we are doing it and why it's so important for us to have more people on the right side. Next is that the law of karma is a universal truth. Okay, but this truth, it's like it or not, it applies to everyone, of whether you have faith or no faith. Okay, but this law of karma is not so simple. It's not just a direct relationship. Okay, it's really a complex combination of causes, conditions, and effects. Okay, but then, and my reflection on this is that this law of karma and what is happening right now is for us to understand Dharma and for us to have faith in the Buddha and really to strengthen our vows and aspirations, that we truly need to aspire to walk the Bodhisattva path and to really go out and benefit more sentient beings. And truly, this is a wake-up call to all human beings, because it has been so widespread all over the world. And due to our minds that are deluded by the 5 poisons, we have caused tremendous damage to our world. So a wake-up call that we really need to be humble and respectful to our mother nature. Human beings are no longer, you know, the king or the leader or the superior beings in this natural world, but rather it has taught us humility and to be respectful. And this pandemic is also a reflection, a mirror. It's like a mirror to reflect our mindset, our behavior, and our actions. And really, it's also for us to pause and reset. Because our lifespan, our lifestyles, our pace of life has been so fast-paced, and we sometimes got lost, okay, and frantic. So we really need to have a pause, you know, to come back to the moment, to the present, and then to reflect and do a reset. So adjustments are needed, okay, not just mentally, physically, spiritually, and also our outlook of life. And to be present at the moment rather than worrying about the future. We do not know how long is this pandemic going to last. We do not know how many patients are going to be infected. And we do not know, you know, and we cannot be worrying about what's going to happen down the road in the future. So rather than worrying about something that we cannot control, we should be aware of our present moment and to reflect on ourselves. And with the current negativity that is clouding the whole world, you know, it's really it's a good time for us to reflect on repentance, okay, regardless of your faith. And Masters has been keep on reminding us about the great repentance, great piousness, and to be contented with our life, and always harbor gratitude and compassion in order to create this stream of great love. And for us to save ourselves is really, you know, we have to save others. And to save others, we have to save ourselves first. So during this pandemic, we have to really protect ourselves, our own families, in order for us to protect others. So this is what what I observe, that we got to save ourselves first to save others by and kindness online, offline. You know, offline meanings are the people that is within our own household, and online is throughout the whole world. Okay, with a physical lockdown where you are being confined at home, even though physically we are not able to go out, but mentally and spiritually, we are actually free. You know, we can go anywhere mentally. So if the mind is at ease and free from worries, you know, then we can still enjoy the freedom. And this is really a kind of a retreat. Okay, I call this a virus retreat. Okay, hopefully the virus will really retreat back. Okay, so we can all go back to our usual. So with this virus retreat and self-isolations, it is an opportunity for us to practice diligence, self-cultivation, self-study, online book sharing, online classes, online 熏法香. And so this is what I have been doing, you know, ever since this self-isolation started. So really grateful that that this is a time for me to do more cultivations and learning. And you know, with all these dark clouds hovering all around us, there's really a hope. Okay, there is hope, because these dark clouds will eventually disperse, and the sun is always there. Okay, it's just that it's been clouded by the dark clouds. Because eventually our medical profession, medically, there will be vaccines that will be being developed and currently being tested, and a cure will have been found. And socially, people are now adjusting their lifestyle. And politically, the leaders are learning from one another on what are the best practices, the best ways, you know, to protect their people and then to flatten the curve. So self-reflection is that this too shall pass, because of the truth of impermanence. Whatever good and bad, it too shall pass. And we need to have a mindset change. Okay, and this change is to cultivate impartiality and to have more equality towards one another, because this virus doesn't recognize who you are. It doesn't recognize which country you're from, whether you're rich or poor, whether you are whichever faith. So it's treating all of us equally. So this is what we should learn from the virus. And lastly, my final observation is true emptiness, wondrous existence. Because this virus medically, is actually it's not a living being. It's not able to live by itself. So it's empty. It's empty of self. Okay, so it has to attach to something to live. Okay, it has to attach to our cells, our body cells, or it has to attach to a surface, for it to live for a certain period. So this virus is empty. Okay, but in our mind it exists. Okay, there is existence of the virus, and it exists in all these patients. Now, if the virus, if our mind is always in fear and panic and clouded by all these delusions, then this virus truly exists, whether or not you're infected by COVID-19. So we need to be constantly vigilant in guarding our mind against this mental virus. Okay. And finally, I'd like to share Ching's aphorism for Master. The true joy derived from the Buddha's teachings comes after putting them to practice. So this is what I have learned. And this is just my personal sharing for me to reflect on myself and for me to continue to walk on this Bodhisattva path. And finally, I would like to wish everyone good health, peace, and everybody stay safe. And may this COVID-19 pandemic be a peace, be ended in the shortest possible time. 感恩。Can I pass the mic back to our host?
亲爱的师兄师姐，大家早安。非常感恩师兄就是详细精彩的一个分享。那的确，现在面对这一波的新冠状病毒，真的我们要学习感恩、尊重、爱。真的，我们素食的东西已经非常好吃的植物，大地已经提供我们这么丰富的一个食物。真的，我们不要去伤害众生。我们每个众生它都是有灵性的，希望说我们能够尊重每一个众生的一个生存权利，同时我们要懂得爱每一个众生。那这样子，我们的世界就会更祥和，能够更和谐。那希望借此这一波的病毒，其实它不是在惩罚我们，它只是在提醒我们，对我们众生之间，我们要懂得感恩、尊重、爱。那相信由此这一次的一个病毒的一个提醒然后能够唤起我们人人本具的佛性、清净的佛性，然后这一份的爱心，然后能够来对待每一位在世界上的一个众生。那希望这一波的病毒能够给我们大大的一个提醒，然后大家也能够人人都能够推行素食然后人人都能够再度的提起这一份尊重的心，然后这一份的爱心。那上人这次在呼吁，我们虽然没有办法像前线的医护人员这样的一个勇敢，能够来这样子就是面对这一波的病毒，然后帮助这么多的病人，但我们没有办法处理。但上人说我们可以出钱，然后同时我们一起来募心、募款、募爱。那相信这一波的病毒，我们能够借由这样子的一个爱，我相信很快就能够平息。同时，我们再度的提醒大家，一定还是要人人素食，同时还要继续再推素。那我相信，预防胜于治疗。如果大家能有这份戒慎虔诚的心，这一份感恩、尊重、爱的心，那我相信病毒就一定会平息。那希望借此这样的一个机会大家都能够就是戒慎虔诚，然后大家都能够和和互协，然后为这一波的，因为这一波的 造成这波的疫情会造成那个因为现在很多都已经没有因为无法出去工作，封城封镇无法出去工作，所以贫苦的国家都已经面临没有饭吃了。那希望说，那也担心会造成暴动，所以说我们这一次的募心募款募爱一定要赶快积极的推动。那感恩师兄您的分享，非常感恩。